So hi, Jill. Thanks for joining us, taking the time to just spend a few minutes with us and explain how your experience has been. You have invested with us. You invested in a property with us, I think 3 or 4 months ago now, wasn't it? Something like that. And basically, first question is can we ask you what you bought?
I bought an apartment in Bournemouth in a property that used to be a big sort of Georgian townhouse mansion, and it was converted into 14 apartments, and I've bought a studio apartment.
Cool, excellent. And that's in Bournemouth, as you said. And had you had any previous experience with properties other than the one that you live in?
Yes, yeah. I've been a private landlord for 22 years. I've got other flats. Recently sold a property, 3-bed detached in Bungay. They've all been let out on assured short hold tenancies, though. I've never stepped outside the realm of assured short hold tenancies before.
And what attracted you to that?
Well, residential estates emails, they're very tempting. They're very tempting. Lots and lots of information, and really good, down to earth, realistic, practical advice and real figures, projections. That one grabbed me. I was looking to buy. What I wanted to do was sell the property that I had, that I wanted to sell in Bungay, the 3-bed detached, and I wanted to pay off the small mortgage that I'd got on that. And I was greedy. I also wanted to buy something which would obviously be less money with a much higher yield, and so I could be mortgage free again and have better returns than I'd been getting. And I wanted this property that I bought to pay for itself, all the associated expenses and platform fees, everything. And I wanted something different as well. I wanted to start to diverse my portfolio a little bit, to get out of ASTs a little, not out of them, but to do something else.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, something with STs, we've never said they were a bad thing, they're a good thing. They're the foundation of a lot of investments. But like I said, sometimes it's time to diversify. And just going back to what you just said then, I mean, obviously what we sent were projections. So projections are just that, we can only base it on what we know. But I think it's fair to say that I think the projections that were sent were pretty close to what's been achieved so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really pleased. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. And obviously on the slide before, people have seen some figures which they can see, and we're really pleased, because sometimes you've got to you sort of live and die by the sword, don't you? So when you're doing this, but obviously we know that the Bournemouth is both a holiday and a corporate let market, but I'm guessing I would have thought that through your management company, it's been mainly tourism, I guess, hasn't it?
Yeah. Have a minimum of 2 nights stay.
Yeah.
We're just trialing, and it is only a trial. We've only been doing it for a few weeks. When you've got a gap, when somebody couldn't physically have that night because it's not a minimum 2 night, we're just trialing and seeing how that works out, allowing 1 night stay only when it comes right up to the line, as it were, when it couldn't be a 2 night stay. So we're just trying that out to see how it goes. Obviously the profits in that aren't so great, because you've still got
you've still got to pay for a clean, etc. Yeah, absolutely.
But just trying it out, because in the as we go through the winter months, obviously things, we're expecting to be a little bit quieter in the winter months. So we'll see how it works out through that. But there's also the corporate and business conference and kind of let as well. So and I
think that's something that when you look at sort of, instead of just strictly hold your lets, when we're in towns and cities like Bournemouth, Chester, wherever they may be, you do have both options. There's plenty of people working down there. It's a big market, big offshore market, all that sort of thing. But anyway, rather than that, I mean, I think we just want to try and explain, a lot of people on this webinar are quite new to this, etc. So it's good for them to see someone who's gone from being a property landlord, trying something different and seeing it work, because I think I've worked out that if you base this over a year, you're on about 13-14% net on the purchase price, and it was a cash purchase, wasn't it? And the idea for you was very much yield generation, weren't it? Residual income over and above capital appreciation, which we'd hope, but being a studio, it's always going to be quite limited. But it's just, like I say, the idea is that in 10 years that's paid for itself, and you've got that going. But on other things, and I do want to keep this short, because I do thank you for your time. It's one question we will always get on short-term lets is, there's a lot of work involved with the management of it. Now, obviously, if you want to do it yourself, you can, but it's time consuming, and you're not based in Bournemouth, are you? You need someone to do it. Have you found that has been a hassle-free process and pretty stress-free?
100%, 100%. The management agent is literally at the end of a WhatsApp or a phone call or an email all the time. I haven't had to get in touch with him much at all, but on the occasions I have, he's either responded immediately or within 20 minutes.
So in that, is it fair to say then, for even compared to your normal ASTs and your short-term lets, there's been no extra stress involved with it?
None. And actually, I should add in, there's a slight element of excitement, because with your AST, you know exactly what you're getting. So it is your bread and butter. You're safe. It's your safety net. If you need X amount out of your investment, unless you lose the tenant for some reason, you know that at the end of the month you're going to get X amount from your AST, which is good. It's your bread and butter. But with a short-term let, what I'm finding is I keep clicking onto the link.
Maybe you're saying you're addicted to looking at your bookings.
And it's like, oh, I've got another booking in, and you're adding up how many you've got that month and thinking, oh, wow, that's brilliant. So, I mean, yeah, it's outperforming the ASTs yield-wise by a long shot. And
which is what we hope. And the weird thing is, even with an AST, like you say, I mean, there are no guarantees with ASTs. You're not guaranteed that, and we're not knocking pain, but so if something's off market for 2 months or something like that, repairs, it's different. And one thing we've always pushed on short-term lets is that they kept well because they managed well, because they cleaned, etc. So you're never going to have any voids within that time period, or no significant voids anyway. And you probably only need you'd need less than a 50% occupancy to outdo an AST, I would have thought.
Definitely.
So it's good. I mean, and then that sort of leads down. Obviously, it's the first project brought through residential estates, and I dealt with you, which was fantastic, a nice, easy process. And obviously, I want to sort of plug us. The process with ourselves was okay.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Very straightforward. Yeah. Very straightforward. Yeah.
And out of interest, if you did come to buy again down the line, where do you think you would go now? Do you think the excitement of the short-term let, depending on location, obviously making sure it's the right product, would now outweigh the benefits of another AST?
I'm hoping that if the circumstances allow, I'm hoping that in the next couple of years I will be looking for another one, and that will be another SLT. So send an email.
STL. I don't know what SLT is, Jill. It's a new one. STL. Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's something we're thriving on. Like I say, we're not trying to recreate something, because the other good option is, and we want people to know this, is that flat that you've got, if for anything, God, if we went through COVID and no one could travel again, you've still got that option of an AST, haven't you? That's your backup option. So we're not trying to change the wheel. We're just trying to highlight that you get significantly better returns for exactly the same property than nothing else, and an easier management service. So so that's fantastic news. Really glad. And like I say, do want to keep this show. I don't want to waste too much of your time, but thanks for your business. Obviously, we'll be in touch soon, and thanks for your time on this.
That's all right. Thanks. Nice talking to you, Paul.
And you. Take care, Jill.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.